What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the weekly comic roundup from Comic Drops, where we talk about and discuss some of the week's latest releases in the world of comics. There was a ton of books released today. I unfortunately had a relatively small pull this week because I'm still behind on a couple books. But Andrew, I know, read a ton of books, but so we're going to talk about some of the ones that we both read that he read. But as I already mentioned him, joining me again today is my good friend Andrew Lilly. How are you doing, man?
I'm great.
Awesome. So we have a ton of books to talk about. What do you want to start with?
You know, let's start with Batman today.
Batman?
I know we usually
Okay,
start
so-
with Aquaman, but let's start with Batman.
So what did you think about this book?
Well, you know me, I'm not like the biggest fan of King's work on Batman, but I honestly think that this was his best issue yet out of his run so far.
Okay.
Why don't you tell him a little bit what's going on?
Okay, so basically we're following where last issue left off. We have Gotham, who is now like on a rampage and mad at Gotham City itself because of the Psycho Pirate and Hugo Strange and what they've done. And he murdered a bunch of soldiers. Spoiler for last issue, but it's important in this one.
Mhm.
But and so yeah, it's basically Batman confronting him and trying to calm him down / fight him, figure out how to deal with that. And then also the side story that we have, or not side story, but like going in with that story, is Duke Thomas and Gotham Girl are in the Batcave, and he's kind of with her, and they're trying to figure out, like, we get more backstory about their powers a little bit, and also what's happening and why. And so I don't know, I really loved the issue. I would agree that it's probably the best issue that he's put out on Batman so far.
Mhm.
But unlike you, I have really enjoyed the previous issues.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that this story it's taken a direction that I didn't expect it to go. I was really hesitant whenever Gotham and Gotham Girl were first introduced, as like more people dressed up in costumes and like in Gotham trying to help save it or / like destroy it, because we didn't know at first. But
Mhm.
I really like where they've taken them with their powers, and I like how we still don't know everything about how they got their powers and all that. But yeah, I would say that I am disappointed that we haven't seen more Hugo Strange yet.
Mhm.
I would like that. He's kind of still just like back in the background in the shadows. We literally don't get any more of him. But that'd probably have to be my biggest complaint about the issue.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint about the run so far has been just sort of the pacing. It's just been a kind of a slow burn, and then today's issue just really ramped up really quickly. To me, it kind of felt like this run sort of needed one more issue to really get this Gotham story down. But I'm thinking this is probably just going to be like one small part of like this big plan that King's got going on
Probably.
for I think he said like the entire year, that there's going to be like 3 main stories or something.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I mean, when I read that, I was a little bit more optimistic, I suppose, because yeah, I haven't really been enjoying this run, and it's not even just the pacing to me. Sometimes I just don't really like the dialogue. And I think one of my other complaints was about, it seems like Batman doesn't really do all the things. Like he's never, well, not never, but it always seems like he has someone else doing this really big and really cool thing. Like today's issue was Alfred, or he's.
Okay, but you have to admit that was awesome.
Oh, that scene was awesome. I'm just saying that's one of many that we've already seen.
Yeah, I understand the like your point still stands.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that scene. That was fantastic. But I guess I just kind of like to see Batman sort of take more of a hands-on approach to it, as opposed to letting someone else. And the guest appearances today, I'll admit, I didn't care for that. I thought it was
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, but then to see why they were brought in and what happened, I didn't like it. I didn't like how it was handled. But to the positives, I did like this art. I did like this issue more than the last issues. Seeing just kind of how crazy Gotham, how just unhinged he was.
Has become.
Yeah, it was really cool. And on the other side, to see Gotham Girls, how she changed due to Psycho Pirate's attacks. And So I'm more interested in her story now because she's sort of been sitting on the sidelines for a little too long now. Um, so it's nice to see that she might be playing a bigger part. Um, but like I said, this is gonna. It sounds like it's gonna feed straight into the next story arc, which apparently we'll see more of Hugo Strange. We'll see more of why Waller is there in General Lane.
Okay, that'll make. I totally understand the complaint about like the slow burn and the pacing, and like I can agree.
Yeah.
But I just also love the like characterization and then also the story themes that he has going throughout it and how he's treating like Gotham and the characters, and I don't know. I really like
Yeah,
it.
I can appreciate that. And I know you're a huge Batman fan, so
Yeah. Also,
yeah.
that definitely I'm very biased. I can admit that.
Yeah.
But
So, I know it sounds like I harp on it all the time, but I'm still optimistic that it can get better. For me, I mean, if you're enjoying it, please continue enjoying it. Because opinions.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of those.
Yep. So yeah, I came away a little bit more optimistic on how with my experiences on the Batman book.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on to another book. We're going to stay off Aquaman again for a little bit. We normally start with it at the very front, so switch it up a little.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Moving on to one of the Green books, which I unfortunately am still behind on, but Green Arrow issue 5 came
Number
out today.
5, yeah.
How was that book?
Green Arrow has been one of the best Rebirth books that has been released, and today was no different. Kind of continues the story of what happened last time. Ollie teamed up with Diggle to stop the Ninth Circle, which is this new terrorist organization who are just trying to set up this smuggling empire. Essentially, they're the ones who essentially destroyed Oliver Queen's life, took away all his money, and then we see his sister Emmy's her plan, because if you remember a couple issues ago, she ended up shooting Ollie in the back and leaving him for dead, and joining up with her mother Shadow. So yeah, Percy's been doing some crazy things with the book, and I've been loving it. And I mean, if you look at the art too, that art is gorgeous.
It's phenomenal.
It is.
It's been stellar for every issue.
It might be the best art of Rebirth. I don't know. It's just crazy how I did not like Percy's run on Green Arrow before Rebirth, and I am totally on board with his run now because it's just fantastic. It really is.
I just think it's awesome that. Well, I mean, it's not awesome that Green Arrow used to be such a bad book, but I think it's awesome that it was such a bad book, and now it's consistently, like, many people call it the best, or if not, like, one of the best, if not the best Rebirth book.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, that's awesome, especially for Green Arrow fans, because we've definitely been lacking a good Green Arrow comic or a representation.
Definitely.
In general.
And, it's all because of this going back to what makes these characters so lovable in the first place. And they really got to the core of Green Arrow's character. They brought in Black Canary, who fans have been wanting to see forever, and so she's playing a really integral role in the Green Arrow book. And Ollie and Dina shippers are gonna love the book, of course. But it's kind of like, it sort of feels like a spy book in a way too, which I always love. I love espionage. So it's a good thriller, I would say. So yeah, just read the book.
I really need to get caught up on it. I've just been so busy. I need to just have a day where I sit down and get caught up on all this.
Absolutely. But I mean, for a non-Green Arrow fan, not saying I don't like him, but I don't say he's not one of my favorite characters. This is a book you need to read, especially Green Arrow fans.
I desperately need to get caught up. Anyways, moving on to a book that I know that you did not pick up today. Suicide Squad #1 came out, and it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Lee's art is amazing as ever. He kills it, which is to be expected. So I mean, that's always a draw. It's one of the reasons that I bought this issue. I had heard that it wasn't great, and it wasn't. It was good. It was okay. I skipped the Rebirth Suicide Squad issue because I figured that it would just be an introduction to the characters for new readers, and I was really disappointed because I read this book and it was basically that. So I mean, I don't know if that's what the Rebirth issue was too.
Yeah,
but
it was.
so like it was just a rehash of that, and so that was disappointing. I mean, they did like start their mission, but not really, and that was kind of disappointing. I mean, the character interaction was great, which is like that's one of the reasons you buy the Squad book, but I really hope that the next issue, which I mean I assume that it will pick up, but yeah, this issue was just kind of, yeah, it was there. If you love Jim Lee's art, then pick it up. It's a fun read, I guess, but yeah.
It kind of reminds me how we thought about when Wonder Woman first came out, how it was a really slow burn because we thought it felt like the same issue, the Rebirth and the number 1 were like the same book.
Definitely.
That's kind of disappointing to hear, but now that they've got the introductions out of the way, hopefully they can.
Hopefully they have the introductions out of the way.
I mean, I think we know who the Suicide Squad are. I mean, we've got the Rebirth book, we had the movie come out, and now we've got the number 1. I think people know who the Suicide Squad are.
That's one thing I will say that was pretty cool. There's definitely some not like connections between the book and the movie, like even direct lines taken out, but I don't know. It depends on how you see it, whether or not you think that's cool or not.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on to another book. This one's from Marvel, and I haven't read any of this series so far. But Black Widow, I don't know which
number
issue.
6.
Came out today. So what did you think of that one, Andrew?
I loved it. I'm loving this book. Yeah, so essentially what happened last issue, Black Widow's secrets were all exposed by the terrorist, the Weeping Lion, who has been blackmailing her since the beginning of the series. He forced her to steal from S.H.I.E.L.D. And so the last issue, all the files that she needed, essentially, to clear herself were destroyed. And so it kind of screwed her. So all of her secrets were exposed, and one of them relating to Iron Man. It was they found out that she had been she had actually kidnapped who's the guy who the scientist who saved Iron Man's life. I forgot his name.
Oh, okay.
Let me
I can't remember his name, but it gives
Professor Yinsen, I guess. So she had kidnapped him and given him to these terrorists who eventually would have killed him. So it was really cool to see Tony Stark, because he is just pissed that he learns that his former Avenger was directly responsible for the fate of the man who
saved him.
who he owes his entire life to. So yeah, it was a really fun issue. Such a good spy book. It kind of reads almost like a Jason Bourne story in a way. But
that's really cool.
That
is. Made me really. And is the first trade for this out yet?
No, not yet. I've got
to pick it up when it does.
It's got to be coming out soon, because it might be in October actually, because this is number 6.
I'll have to pick it up whenever it comes out.
Yeah, definitely. It is just such a good book. Beautiful art. The story is really cool. Pick it up. It's such a good book.
Moving on, we will now tackle Aquaman. So
right.
I loved this issue, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really great. I loved the political aspect of this. Like, I really loved the panel. Was like spoiler alert from last issue, but it's continuing the. Actually, Andrew, why don't you tell them what's going on?
All right, if you want. I feel like I talk a lot, but okay. So basically, everything that Arthur has built has basically been destroyed ever since Black Manta's attack on the Spindrift station.
And when you put it like that, like when you actually say it, like that sucks.
Yeah, it's what's happened. And so, and the Spindrift station was the Atlantean embassy to bring together the worlds of Atlantis and the surface world, trying to live together in peace. And ever since Black Manta has destroyed it, all the blame has shifted to Aquaman, and now he's being branded as a terrorist, as a leader of a hostile nation. So it is getting good. This is, trying not to be biased, but it is personally my favorite Rebirth series.
It's definitely up there. It's a really, really good read.
It is. It's telling such a cool story. Like you said, it's a real like political story. Yeah, so tell us your thoughts about it.
I loved it. It continues with after Mera had broken him out of his cell, and so now they're being attacked by the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how it was them fighting them the entire issue, and then like trying to fight towards the water, and then how I like the interactions between Aquaman and Mera. But I do agree with one of your tweets that I saw, where I don't think Mera is written the best here.
Yeah.
And I would also say, like, I think that she was drawn kind of awkwardly in a couple of panels and looked a little weird.
Yeah.
Especially her face. But other than that, I loved the art in the issue.
Yeah.
And I did love the interactions, and then how strong Aquaman was like, no one dies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we have to do this. We have to be peaceful about this while still battling and destroying all their stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. That's my only complaint about the book, is how Mera is written. She just kind of seemed really childish sometimes.
Yeah.
And just...
It was a very, like, the reactions were not...
Yeah, it's just
very
like...
appropriate.
Oh, you don't agree with how I'm doing this? What would she say? Oh, we should call off the marriage or something? I'm
like, do you want to call off the wedding?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
That came out of nowhere.
Like, baffled. Minor spoiler alert.
Oh,
But I was baffled. I was like, that's very out of character and doesn't belong here
it
right
was.
now.
She just kind of seemed really whiny in this issue, and she's not like that. So I don't know what Abnett was doing there, because I don't know if he was... Okay, my biggest issue with Abnett writing Mera is that he always makes her like the comic relief, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it just makes her just like a ploy, basically. And
Yeah.
I don't like that. And this issue, I don't know if they were trying to go for sassy and sarcastic, but it didn't work to me. But I do like some of the interactions, especially... Yeah, some of the interactions were good, but...
I think from Aquaman's side.
Yeah, more from his side, just how he's so frustrated now because everything he was trying to work for, it just went up in smoke because of what's happening, and
it's just getting worse.
Yeah, and it's not directly Mera's fault. I mean, the government was essentially forcing their hand, so it's just kind of...
It's a really good read.
It is because it makes you think, and then the ending, someone
it
shows
was awesome.
up, and it makes you pretty excited for the next issue. That's for sure.
Definitely. I definitely wanted more.
Definitely. And best news, Walker is coming back next issue. So
I know that you're excited for that.
I'm excited. I love his art. I thought the art in #1 was so good. But I like Briones. I like his art too. But I agree, some of the panels looked a little odd. But
a little awkward, but
and then
overall,
we can't forget Black Manta. His story is becoming interesting. It will be interesting to see what their plan is. He's sort of
it's
just
definitely like a long game.
Yeah, definitely. And we know the next story arc is going to feature Black Manta too, so definitely going to be a long game because he hasn't really done too much. The story's mostly been focused on the interactions between Aquaman and the U.S. government. So, good stuff in this book.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of the best Rebirth books so far.
Definitely. Man, that makes me happy, especially with what I had to go through with DCU.
Oh yeah, that was not fun.
Oh, so I'm happy. I'm happy.
But anyways, moving on to another Marvel book that I seem really biased in this. I promise I read Marvel. I do. I just. But anyways, so all new Wolverine issue 11 came out today.
Yes.
So Andrew, how was that?
This book is so good. I love this book. It's a Civil War II tie-in, so I know some people are already shaking their heads, being like, "Oh, another tie-in book." But give it a chance. It's good. You don't have to really know too much of what's going on. They kind of give you a little background of what's happening in the world. The all-new Wolverine, Laura Kinney, has been with. She sort of teamed up with Old Man Logan for the past couple of issues, and Ulysses, who is the Inhuman who can like profile the future, has this vision that Old Man Logan is going to kill Gabby, her younger sister. So Captain America and S.H.I.E.L.D. arrive to detain them, saying, hey, we just want to make sure no one gets hurt. We just want to have you, detained for a little bit until we know the danger's past. And they're not having it, as you would expect. So it's an interesting issue. I know it does seem out of character for Captain America to be like that, to say, we have to detain you even without you doing something.
Yeah, that is a little out of character and odd.
I agree. But there's some parts in the issue that make you feel like, oh yeah, okay, I get where he's coming from. It's a good,
that's good.
It's a good read. It's a shocking read. I'll just say that.
Now I'm intrigued.
Yep. Definitely give it a shot. This is one of my favorite Marvel series. I've been loving Laura Kinney as Wolverine. I really have.
I know you've got a lot of good things to say about.
Yeah.
her.
I just don't want this book to end. It's so good. I don't think
That's
it will.
Definitely good to hear.
Yeah. So check it out.
Okay, well, jumping back to DC, let's talk about Nightwing. Nightwing number 3 came out today, and I have loved this book so far. I really like. I thought about it actually earlier today, and they've kind of done a little bit of the same style thing when I thought about what the story is doing. So the story basically so far is that Nightwing is infiltrating the Parliament of Owls and trying to take them down from the inside, and now they've assigned him a partner named Raptor, who is this like assassin. Well, he's the thief mainly, but he definitely also kills people. He's a thief assassin, but and so now he's having to work with him. And when I thought about it, I was like, wow, this is actually extremely similar to what they did in the beginning of Grayson, with him infiltrating Spiral and trying to take them down, and then getting assigned another partner. And so it's weird that it's the exact same thing, but it's still so great to read. It's such a fun book to read. And then they brought Batgirl in on this issue.
Yeah.
And so their mission in this book is to infiltrate this maze designer's house. So it's a crazy maze with all these traps, and get these plans that the Parliament of Owls needs. And so they're doing that, and just, I thought it was really cool. I loved seeing Nightwing and Batgirl back together.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. And then I also love the art in this book. The simplicity and the colors really stand out, especially whenever they have the shadows on their costumes and the bright colors stand out. I loved that. But yeah, I think that Batgirl was written well in this. She definitely had, I know that I was a little angry like with her reactions and what she said, but it was understandable also.
Yeah.
And I think she said a lot of very real things, I guess. And so that was nice. And then yeah, I've just really loved this book so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really strong book. I think it might be it might actually help me because I didn't read Grayson, so this story kind of feels a little more fresh to me.
That's good.
But I hear good things about it. But yeah, I just have to mirror everything you said. It's a really fun story, and I didn't know how I'd take it with the whole Nightwing has a new mentor. I was like, was always kind of thinking, isn't he kind of old to have a new mentor? But it's really been fun. Yeah, it's definitely in my top Rebirth books.
Also, the panel layout in
Yeah,
this book is top notch. I loved the panel layout.
I agree.
But yeah, on to one of the. I think this is the last Marvel book on the list.
This is the last Marvel. Yep,
The Uncanny Avengers. Don't know which issue that one is either.
number 12.
That came out today. So how was that?
It's great. It's the final issue of the Ultron story. Basically, the Uncanny Avengers are now convinced that Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, is dead, and that Ultron has taken over his body and is basically just wearing his skin. Kind of creepy, but it's a really good issue. I really liked it. I loved the art. And yeah, so it's basically they've got this plan that what was it called? Project Icarus or Icarus. I can't remember what it is, but it's to trap Ultron in the Hulkbuster armor from Iron Man, and to fly him into the sun to kill him.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and well, I can't give away too much of the book. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a really, really good book, and the action is crazy awesome. Yeah, it was a great conclusion to the arc. I picked up the book again just because I knew the Ultron arc was coming, and I was really excited. But I think I'm probably just going to continue with the series because it's just really good.
That's always such a great thing whenever you pick up a book not expecting.
Yeah.
Like whenever you're surprised, you're pleasantly surprised.
Exactly, and it's got some of my favorite characters. I'm not crazy about Deadpool being on it, but Steve Rogers is on the team. Wasp, Rogue, Vision.
Ooh, okay. I might have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's just a really fun book.
Okay, well, moving on to the other green book that we have on our list.
Oh yeah.
Green Lanterns issue 5 came out today, which unfortunately I'm still behind on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that I'm not missing too much with the last couple issues, but how was this one?
This one was better than the last issue, and I will agree with that because it has been moving very slowly. Luckily, this issue today really picked things up. The story finally moved forward. So Atrocitus and the Red Lanterns have come to Earth, and they're transforming it. They're trying to this thing called the Hell Tower is burrowing into the center of the Earth, and it's driving people insane with rage, which is a cool story. But yeah, I guess the biggest issue in this book was that I didn't like how Jessica Cruz's her character just keeps going back to this just this cycle of her saying that, oh, I'm just like crippled by anxiety and fear. And I don't know, it feels like we should have been moving past this a little bit, because I mean, why is she a Green Lantern if she's constantly afraid of everything? And I don't know, I just think it's kind of like a broken record right now of her story, and it'd be nice to see her, kind of step up, make a construct. So yeah, that's one of my issues with this series. And luckily, I heard luckily the next issue is going to be the last of the Red Lantern's story. I thought it was going to be today's, so I was preparing for it to be bad. But I think maybe they can end it well, but
You can have a strong finish.
yeah, I just
but it's ultimately been disappointing.
So, it had such a strong premise and such a strong start that I thought this story could be really good, and it's just sort of been okay. My biggest issue was that they had been advertising Bleeze was going to be such a huge part of this story arc, and it was Bleeze who was leading the Red Lanterns, and she's shown up for maybe 3 pages. Like, that's it.
That's ridiculous. 3 pages out of 5 issues is absurd.
Yeah. And those 3 pages were basically 1 issue, and the other books she showed up for like a panel or 2, and I've just been so disappointed by that because she's one of my favorite Lantern characters, and I got so hyped when they were just saying, "Oh, Bleeze is going to be in it." She's going to be a big part, and we saw all these images of her on the covers, and I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be awesome." And then she's just nowhere, so it was rather disappointing.
Yeah.
On the positives, the art is fantastic. Robson Rocha I think he was the only artist on the book again, and he is fantastic. Love the art.
The art has been amazing in that book.
And then I will say, Atrocitus is a beast in this issue. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
It is. So it like I said, this issue was a lot better than the previous issues. I'm still not a fan of how they completely ignored the Red Lantern continuity from the New 52. In fact, I don't like it at all. But it's better. It's better for an arc that had so much potential that it's sort of okay.
Fizzled.
Yeah, fizzled out. And like you said, hopefully it can end on a strong note. But we'll see.
Yep. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it can do that. That'd be nice and appreciated.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on to the big team book, Justice League number 3, came out today, and we both were not really fans of the first couple issues, including the Rebirth one, and I will say that the story's taken a turn that I didn't expect it to take, but I don't really know how to feel about it. Honestly, I'll say it's a good read, but it still leaves me not knowing whether or not, like, how much I liked it. Like, it's interesting. I'm interested in, like, where it's going and what the backstory behind these things that are invading Earth is, but I don't know. I will say that I really enjoyed the art on this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was awesome, and then the character interactions were cool, and I loved the moments between Clark and Lois, and then also Batman, and so that was nice. But the story's still leaving something to be desired for me.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't been the biggest fan of this book. It just feels just like a generic, bland Justice League story to me. This big end of the world story.
Yeah, I'm definitely really over the end of the world story.
I am too.
Which, I mean, I know it's difficult to, like, have a threat other than the end of the world for the Justice League, but it can be done.
It can be. Or take them off Earth or something and put them somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not really that engaged when I read this book. It's just sort of like I'm reading it to read it sort of mentality.
It's the Justice League book. I have to read it. Like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you should be engaged when you're reading these kind of comics, and to have such a huge book like Justice League and you're just sort of going through the motion of reading it without really caring, it's not a good sign. I'll say the art is good.
All right, and we have one more book for the day, which I totally forgot was coming out today, but Supergirl, was it Rebirth or number 1?
Yeah, it was the Rebirth.
Okay, Supergirl Rebirth came out today. So I was really looking forward to this, but I totally blanked the day we released today. But how was it?
It was really good. It was good for new fans of the character, and it really takes a lot from the TV show, which I don't know if
I've only seen the pilot.
Yeah, I just know it takes place in National City. Some characters from the show, I think, are in it. I think, but I'd have to check again. It just seemed like it came from the TV show. It's not a bad thing. Yeah, it was a really good start. It started off with Supergirl trying to get her powers back. I didn't keep up with the New 52 Supergirl, but I'm guessing that was a big issue. Probably explains her absence.
I'd imagine that was a major problem.
Yeah, I just know she was gone from comics for a while. So I don't know if that was what they were doing, but anyway, it explains that. But yeah, the art's so good. Emanuela Lupacchino, I love her art. I was a big fan of it with the Starfire solo book. So to see her artwork, unfortunately, she's not going to be on the main book when it comes out. But
that's a bummer.
Yeah, she's on. I can't remember what book she's doing. I know she's on something, but I just can't remember it. But yeah, it was a really good book. Steve Orlando, he previously wrote Midnighter. He's
I remember that. I still need to read that.
Good,
so many comics.
Great series. So he's tackling Supergirl. There's going to be a controversial moment for fans moving forward. So that'll be exciting to see how fans take it. It deals with a certain villain, Supergirl villain. So
controversy and intrigue, you say?
Yeah, at least I would imagine there'd be some. Yeah, I think it's a really great start. It just seems like the super books are pretty good so far.
It's nice. It's cool that they have such a strong super book lineup.
Yeah,
as well.
I hear nothing but good things about Superman. Superwoman from last week was really good. And even Action Comics is, it's not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a bad book.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not a terrible read. I think it's good.
Yeah,
it's a enjoyable read.
Right.
I'd say.
So it's nice to have another super book that's good. That's a really enjoyable read. So I might stick with Supergirl. Might prove to be good.
I definitely need to pick that up, as well as so many other comics. As you can tell, there's too many in too little time.
Oh, I understand that.
That will wrap it up for this week's episode of the Roundup. If you have any books that we haven't even mentioned, or that you want us to talk about, please let us know in the comments below. I'll try my best to get caught up on them or pick them up. And so I guess now we'll shamelessly plug our social media. So where can people find you, Ander?
I'm at Twitter at AnderWriter.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at APBatman. Just come by and talk comics, Batman, say he's awesome. Also, be sure to keep it locked to comicdrops.com for the latest drops in superhero news and entertainment. Later.